All right, guys. Welcome back to our game, and yeah, I think things are coming along pretty well in terms of our game mechanics. So we've got our car moving, we've got our camera following, we've got obstacles, we've got our pickups, but our game doesn't really look like a game. So we're gonna do a little bit about the aesthetics of our game in this video. So this is something that I'm not really good at, and I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time. But just to make our game kind of pretty looking, we're going to be talking about a little bit of design. Now, I've already picked out some of the assets from the asset store that I used in my original game, and also some of the free ones, which I feel are quite nice. So I'm just going to point you in the direction. So this is one of the ones that I really liked. So they're a really pretty hand-painted houses, and I've already imported this one into my project. There's another one, Baker's House, so it's just a single house, but I think it's really pretty, and it fits in a lot of low poly and cartoonish environments. So if you need this one for the future, just someone one to look after, and this is another low poly free pack, so it's really good for mobile games and such. And this group of people, Tornado Bandit Studios, they're pretty cool. They also have some good assets otherwise, so you should check them out. And I use them in Crazy Cabby as well, I believe, but I could be wrong, but they're pretty good anyways. So at the moment, I'm really not gonna be working too much on the design, really. So I encourage you to knock yourself out. There's plenty of others. I think in the original game I used some others as well that I really just I can't be bothered really. For example, if I just flip back to the original game, so this is for example, we'll look at. Let me just clear the console and maybe oops, that's not what I wanted to do. So just to give you a little bit of a glimpse of the kind of environment that I was working on, still very simple as you can see, and I guess not much happening here. So that's kind of the look that we're going to be going for. And of course, in this game, in the original game, we had a couple of different types of terrains. If any of you um, saw the saw the preview video. So if I just move this here, so there was this sort of a, oops, yeah. So there was this sort of a beach environment, and there was one other which was a lot more bland. So yeah, I guess what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be quickly just drafting up something to look at. So first things first, I noticed that when we move right and left, so our camera kind of, well, doesn't fit, right? So we need to make some changes for that. So let's try and see what we can do here. Maybe something like this. No, I don't really like that very much, but let's just see. Uh, hmm. No, I kind of feel like that's a little too far away, but that's something that we can do, certainly, but let's just see. Um, let's try to change our camera, maybe the position. Let's see. So we'll move it back a little bit, and let's see if that's okay. Uh, So look, before this video, first of all, let me just say I'm not a great designer. So feel free to just close this video and come back with your own design. I think you'll be a lot more happier, and I'll be a lot more happier. Um, this video basically is going to be a lot of tweaking, okay? Because that's exactly what game design is, right? We've really, for example, our jump mechanic, for example, it looks a bit sloppy and stuff. So as we get our environment and we get some the tiles spawning and stuff like that, we'll be looking at tweaking, and you'll realize that there is going to be a lot of tweaking. Now, in most tutorials, what's going to happen, and they're just going to give you the values for which the game works perfectly, and you really won't notice it until you actually start working on your own project. Now, I'll probably not going to be wasting too much of your time as well, except maybe for in this video, but let's just see how it goes. So um, okay, so this looks a little bit better, I guess. There's a little bit of clipping. Um, So I just want to, let's see, maybe I can make this like so. And let's see, maybe we can bring it a little bit closer. Let's see. Yeah, of course we have the camera script, so it's not going to change. Let's see. Nope. Let's move that back to -9. And I mean, it's a little bit too far away for my liking. So maybe we can just change the field of view a little bit. No, it's still not that nice, I guess. Okay, so let's move a little bit closer. Okay, so as you can see, this is just not very fun, but I guess we're gonna stick to this for now. Yeah, so I think this is I'm pretty much fine with that. So what I'm gonna try and do is I'm going to okay. So as you can see, as we talked about before, the x values are between 3 and -3, which means that starting from the very center, the road that we have has a length of 3 on this side and a length of 3 on the other side, so about 6 units wide. So we're gonna first of all have our road looking like a road. Let's make it a little bit smaller and let's make it 6 exactly, and see if it looks all right. So okay, so maybe a little bit more because of the length of the car. So let's try 9, and I think this should be fine. Yeah, this looks a little bit too big, so maybe 8. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. And also I want to reduce the size of the length of the road to about 50 because it's a little bit more standard. And as we later on, since we're going to be duplicating these tiles over and over again, so it's just going to be a little bit more easier to do. So I'm just gonna, for the time being, I'm going to disable the pickup, and we have this cube. I'm just gonna drag it here. I'm gonna call it road. And let's make a couple of new folders. So create new folder. One is going to be for our prefabs. Another one is going to be for our materials. Okay. So what did I do? That's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make a folder. So got ahead of myself there. Okay. So this is our road, and in the materials, I just want to create a new material, kind of give it a roadish look because I'm too lazy. I'm going to call it road mat for road material. Gonna have a slightly grayish color, and I'm pretty happy with that, and I can go ahead and just drag and drop it onto the floor. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to go ahead and quickly make some grass. So I'm just going to duplicate the road. In case you're wondering how I did that, I just clicked on road and I did Control D. And I moved it. Also, if you're wondering how I was able to, kind of snap this into place, so if you just hold down your left control and if you kind of move it, then it will move 1 unit at a time, as you might be able to see over here. And I just moved it like so, and I think it snaps pretty well. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new material for my grass. Again, this is not, I'm not going for the most beautiful look on the planet, but just something to get our game a little bit more lively per se. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I can make, that's not it. Okay, so something like this, and we can call this grass. So it's a little bit too bright, so maybe a little bit dull, like so. And maybe now it's a little bit too dull, but that's okay. And we'll move it like so. So I think this adds a little bit more color to our game. Okay. So we're eventually going to make all of this into a prefab. So it's cluttering up the inspector right now, but we'll deal with that really soon. So don't worry about that too much. Okay, so now I guess it's a good time for me to start just dropping in some houses. So I go in here and I think, yeah. So as you can see, there's well, it's missing its texture, but that's okay. We'll deal with that in a second. Let me just kind of position it like so, and yeah, it looks all right. So all right, let's try and drag and drop another one here, and maybe position it like so. And let's go for another one like so, and maybe like here. So yeah, just go ahead and try and figure out what you want to do. Feel free to experiment with the other assets that I mentioned. Just try and make something that looks a little bit pretty and something that you're satisfied with. Um, and yeah, that's about all I can say with regards to this video. Um, so like here, and let's see. Yikes. Okay, so okay, like here, and let's move it up a little bit. Um, Alright, and maybe we can duplicate that since it's facing the other way and just kind of move it down here. And maybe we can have another one of these here, a little bit closer. And one of these guys, let's move them here and down like so. I'm just gonna go in my game view. I'm gonna move my car back a little bit, so let's not like so, but in my Z, let's okay, so let's move the car and the camera together since we want to keep them nicely positioned. So let's just move them both here like so. I just want to see what the game looks like, and I think it looks fine actually. So let's just drop in the textures. Now, the good thing about these houses is that they just have the one texture. Um, which is pretty cool in terms of performance. It's called texture atlasing, where you've got a bunch of different assets, but they all use the same texture. And it's really the texture which causes a lot of problem. It increases your draw calls. It's something. Um, and when you have such beautifully designed assets, then you don't have to really worry about those sort of optimization issues. And that's one of the reasons why I was using these in my project. So yeah, they're really neat, and that's something to look out for really uh, on the asset store, especially if you are planning to build something for the mobile um, platforms. So yeah, I think this looks fine, and if I just switch over to the game view, I think this also looks quite nice. Now, I want you to probably go on your own and make some sidewalks and sideways and things like that, and make it a little bit pretty. I'm not really planning on spending too much time. I could probably add a bit of a sidewalk. So let's just do that. Maybe just a cube. So let's just see. Here we are. Where is it? Oh boy. Okay. So let's just reset it to 0, 0, 0. Let's find where it is. Here it is. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Let's make it about, let's make it a little bit smaller first of all. And yeah, I think we can just like so. So we can increase it in about, let's just make it like so. And 50 units is the length of our, yeah, so that fits pretty nicely, I guess. Um, yeah, yeah. So this can be our little sidewalk, and yeah, I think it fits pretty nicely. I can just copy it over onto the other side. Um, and yeah, pretty much. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I think this looks really pretty, actually. Um, Let me just see if I can scoot the taxi and the camera over a little bit more. Can I? Let's see. Without showing the edge. Okay, so I think this looks fine. What I'm going to do lastly is I'm going to create an empty game object, and we're going to call it environment. And let's just first of all reset it to 0, 0, 0. And now we can go ahead and we can drag and drop all of this stuff into this environment so it doesn't clutter up so much space. So basically everything is right here. I just want to try and run the game now and see what it looks like while we go through our little environment. So let's go on our taxi. Let's speed things up a little bit. And yeah, I'm really liking this. Now, if I can just to give you a little bit of a better view, what I can do is okay, so now that we're done with the design, okay, so I have a prefabs folder, and I can basically drag and drop this into my prefabs folder. Okay, now here's what a prefab is. A prefab is basically something that I can create and reuse over and over and over again. The beauty is that since we've created a single tile, and now through code we're going to be basically creating a lot of these tiles. Now, since we've made this into a prefab, I can delete it here, and I still have a copy of it here. So every time I drag and drop in here, it's going to be fine. So what exactly is the next step that we're going to be doing? In this video, we've pretty much not done any coding, and that's okay. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a time to try and explain to you how we're going to progress forward with the game now. What we're going to be doing is we have to procedurally generate the environment. Okay, so as the car is moving forward, we have to create these little tiles. Now, as you can see at the moment, you can see the edge of the tile, and that's not really pretty. So what we're going to be doing is initially, I'm just going to duplicate this environment. I'm going to move it, and since we know the length of one tile is 50, we can directly place the other one at a z value of 50, and you can see that they exactly match up the two environments, and that's amazing. If I switch back now, you can see that the environment seems to be running on a little bit longer, and I can do the same thing with these two. So I'm just going to click both of them. I'm going to duplicate them both, and I'm going to put this at a z value of 100. So now we've got 4 tiles, and if I again switch back and if I play, then we have a bit of a longer road for our taxi to basically go through, and I think this is looking really well. Now, obviously, there is a limit to how many tiles we can spawn at one time, right? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a certain number of tiles which we're going to create at the very beginning of the game, then what we're going to do is we're going to be keeping track of where our taxi is, and using that information, we're going to be spawning additional tiles. So, for example, what I'm trying to say is at the moment our taxi is on, let's say, on tile number 1, right? But by the time our taxi goes over here, let's say, and we don't really need this environment anymore. Okay, so a little bit more maybe. So when our taxi is over there, then we don't really need environment number 1. So we can pretty much turn it off. We can delete it. We can do whatever we want with it, right? So that's the kind of stuff that we need to do here. I'm gonna move my taxi. Yeah, back. So we have the camera and the taxi still okay. Now, by the way, one more thing I'm going to say is that remember we talked about the whole offset with the camera and the taxi. Now, I moved them both together, okay? And the reason why I moved them both together is because I wanted to maintain that difference. Okay, so if you click on the taxi now, and if you click on the main camera now, and if you check their axes, they're gonna be still the same like they were before. Now, of course, at the beginning of this video we changed them so they're not like 5 and -5 and such, but you get the idea. So that's kind of what's going on here. I'm just gonna duplicate these 4 and so let's see, how much is this? So there's 50, 100, 150, 200. So I can pretty much just place them at z equals 200. No, what did I miss? 150 is it? Yeah, so 150 seems to be doing just fine, I guess. but I guess I'm missing something, am I not? Am I not? Why do they seem to all be at the same place? Okay, so yeah, I clearly did something wrong. Um, all right, so this one is at 150. We'll just manually move them forward. So this one is, oh, they're disabled. Ha ha ha. So this one is at 200, and this one is at, my bad, I'm not sure what happened there. And this one is at 300. So I think this looks all right, and we need to turn it on. I'm not sure why that happened, but let's say 1, 2, 3, 2 and 3 seems to be overlapping. So let's just make this all the way over there. 350 and 4, and let me make sure 2 and 4 aren't overlapping. Okay, yeah, so hopefully you get the idea of what we're trying to do here. So yeah, this video has just been about design, and hopefully in the next video we will start looking at what we want to do and how we want to procedurally generate this environment. So thank you so much, and I understand that this has not really been a coding video, but I still hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.